And hello and good morning. I'm David Bowles, and this is Bowles.tv. BOLES.tv.television. Streaming to you live and in concert Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And on the weekends, Jana makes her return at 11 a.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, as she holds court about language and arts and the news and anything else that's happening from a disabled point of view in a disabled world, but very able communication all the way. Through text, typing, sign language. It's all there. It's all inclusive. Total communication, as they say in the game. Well, Amazon has always been an interesting company to me. And during the pandemic, you had to find ways to get food because where we live, we kind of live in this urban area, and it's a little bit of a food desert. Lots of little bodegas, very expensive on the corner, but not a really big proper grocery store, supermarket. Now there's one that's about a mile away called C-Town, C-Town, very small. They do have some interesting items you can purchase that I would say are kind of exotic or elite, that are expensive for the people who are moving into the area. We're supposed to be getting a brand new, I almost said garbage can, grocery store right here in our building, in the new building, Tower 2, as they say in the business. They're supposed to be here by now, but right now the space is empty. So I don't think they're going to make their spring deadline. And they're also in the middle of now building Tower 3, so it's going to be an interesting couple of years of construction. And then there's Stop and Shop. They used to be our regular grocery store, not a big supermarket, super duper market like they have in the Midwest. But they had some stuff. But from here to there now, it's probably a 2.5 mile walk. So getting there, getting your stuff, bringing it back can take 2.5 hours. It's a big adventure. And you don't want to use a cart, because a cart is a sign of weakness. You have to carry your bags like the manliest man you are, because it's part of your exercise routine. Little old people, mainly women, use the carts, but not the able-bodied middle-aged. You walk with your bags. And for a long time, you get a very flimsy plastic bag. And you'd always ask for double bagging. And some people would do it, and some would say, I have to charge you extra for a second bag. And I had one manager come one time and say, oh, these bags are so strong, you can put 2 6-packs of pop soda in one thin bag. And this manager went out there and got the thing, boom, boom, while we're trying to check out. We don't drink soda pop. So this manager had to go to the aisle, come back. She sort of knew us. Came back, bring your own bag, Gordon says, I'm getting to that. And pack your own bag. And she's holding it up and showing it to us. They see this thin bag. It's strong, it's strong. And I said to her, yeah, it's strong that way when you're putting in a 6-pack of pop. But put in a heavy bag of crackers or something with a sharp corner on it, and it's going to tear the bag instantly. And she didn't want to test that because she knew I was right. If you have a round, soft edge, the bag's wonderful. If you have anything that has a sharp corner or like a rim on a thing of hummus that's very sharp, it will cut right through the bag. So that's why you like to have 2. And if you're environmentally unconscious, you bring your own bag, as Gordon said. And some say stuff your own bag and don't let the baggers do the job. So now there's this new thing in New Jersey and New York, where they're outlawing plastic bags. trying to sort of force people to bring their own bag. And some people do and some people don't. But if you want them to give you a bag, you can buy a plastic bag. It's just thicker, very nice. I saved them. Or you can go for a paper bag. And paper bags were the doom of my destiny as a child, because that's all you had growing up in the 70s in the Midwest were paper bags. And you would save them and you use them for garbage, paper garbage, and they were useful. And then they were replaced by plastic. And now we have the return of the paper bag, and many paper bags are very thin. Sometimes you have to double bag. They don't want to double bag your bag. Don't double bag. Big problem. Gordon says, did you know at Trader Joe's, every state has its own creative and fun design for their reusable bags? I did not know that, but we do have reusable Trader Joe bags because they're very cute and irresistible. And I believe that Jana Marie has one in her possession right now because she's going there today. And I believe it is new. I wish I had it. I would show it to you. Maybe there's another one around here I should find. So in the middle of a COVID pandemic, you don't want to go to the grocery store. And with the fun thing, they would have buffets, they would have fresh fruit and sliced up things that you could buy, and all of that stopped in COVID. None of the fresh stuff is available anymore, at least not around here, because of contamination, I guess. So you had to find a way to order online. And when you're a Prime member, at that time, they've now changed it. If you want to order from Whole Foods, at least in this area, $15 service fee. Additional. Now, even if you're a Prime member, $15 additional delivery fee. And they say that does not include the tip. And the drivers and the packers are furious because they think everyone's going to think that that additional $15 service fee is covering the tip, but it's not. I'm hearing weird sounds of things opening. And nothing can be opening because it's nothing to be opened. If we're getting invaded, I'm leaving the stream on. I'm not moving. I'll make them come and get me. Vacation. So, during the pandemic, you could order Whole Foods without that ridiculous $15 service fee. And they've added the service fee now because nobody's ordering from Whole Foods anymore because it's not the pandemic. People are going to the buffet again. But the problem was, we were in the middle of a pandemic and Whole Foods only had a certain amount of slots available for delivery for a day. So if you were running out of food and you were hungry, you really had to get up at 4 a.m. and every few minutes refresh your cart for Whole Foods and see if a slot opened up because they were rolling opportunities. So at 6 a.m. they had a certain amount of slots, 8, 9, noon, throughout the day. But usually if you didn't get a slot by 9 o'clock in the morning, you weren't going to get a delivery that day. And they weren't doing advanced days. They were going day by day. It was really sort of traumatic. I was talking to my pharmacist friend about that. He said his wife would do the same thing. Get up at 4 a.m, refresh. And then you try to get a little bit smart. And you think, okay, there are people who are getting these slots. And I want to know how to do it. So you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And then you find that there's this bot. And it's not really a bot because it's something that you invoke yourself, especially on a Mac computer, that would run this thing. I guess it's a script that would specifically, once you invoke it, reload the checkout page of your Whole Foods order every 60 seconds. Gordon says you can find the 2021 Trader Joe's Nebraska bag. It's chock full of Nebraska love. Now that'll be interesting. I'll have to find that. I'll have to look for it. I don't know how Gordon knows about last year's bag. It's very interesting. I hope Gordon, maybe he's collecting bags all over the United States from Trader Joe. I don't know. I do know Starbucks used to have mugs for specific areas. We have a New York mug. We have a New York City mug. Two different things. We do not have a Nebraska mug. Yet. Oh, Gordon did a search for a Trader Joe Nebraska bag. Very good. So you would have this bot refresh the page every 60 seconds. However, there was a small catch. That, because Amazon kind of caught on what was going on, but it couldn't really catch you using a bot because the bot was running locally on your site, and all it was doing really was refreshing the checkout page. So Amazon doesn't know if you're doing that or if the bot's doing it. And you could set the bot to, do it not exactly every 60 seconds, but maybe every 47, 49, 62. So it looked random. But the problem was this, is once it found you a slot, an available slot, hey, we found you a slot, man. Then you'd have to, yourself, click on the slot, it's usually just one, that you want. And then you'd go to the next step, which is check out and pay. But Amazon was smart that they would only hold that page of an open slot open for about 20 seconds to fight these script bots that they knew were out there. So that meant you couldn't run it and leave it, your bot. You had to pretty much sit here in front of the computer, maybe watching the TV, maybe listening to music, but watching to see if you're going to get a slot or not. Oh my gosh, I got a slot at 4:05 in the morning. Click. 20 seconds. Click. So it would work, but sometimes you would be, the page would be refreshed for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and you'd be stuck here. You could not really go to the bathroom because if you got the slot, while you were in the bathroom, by the time you got back to your computer, it was gone. And the page had refreshed. And you didn't even know you missed your slot. Excuse me. Hot box time. So, at that time, when Whole Foods was beginning to be delivered, they would deliver in wonderful cold bags. I hear a vacuum in the hallway. Cold bags and these kind of foamy, big square bags. Interesting. Oh, and I'm probably going to get hit with an ad break because I forgot to take one right before we started. And they were wonderful. And these bags, when you were done with them, would fold up, and they were thick, clunky like this. And you were supposed to theoretically return them to Amazon when the next time you ordered your food. Kind of like the old days of the dairy milkman, where you'd leave the empty milk bottles in your milk box outside your back door, and the milkman would pick them up and take them away. We don't live in 1970 anymore. We live in apartments. And people don't want one bag is this thick. People don't want that bag in their apartment because they would reuse them and they smelled of milk and mildew and old food. So then you're supposed, leave them with your front desk. Well, you live in an apartment building with 700 apartments. You have 100 people with 10 bags trying to leave it at the front desk. Not happening. So then Amazon said, they're recyclable. Just don't return them to us. Just put them in the recycle bin. And the building didn't want them in the recycle bin because they're huge bags and they take up space. We don't want to recycle this. We don't think this is recyclable. It has nylon things. Not recyclable. Not in this state. So then you just mention that to Amazon and they say, just throw them away. Put them in the garbage. And the garbage people in the building didn't like that because they're big, thick bags and they don't grind up in the grinder thing. So that went on for a couple of months. And then Amazon changed and went to a different kind of bag that you could throw away more easily. And the bubble wrap, that was kind of the insulation on anything that was frozen. Then they got rid of that because that wasn't environmentally sound. And then for the past year and a half, they've been using, they returned to paper bags. And these are the paper bags of my childhood. I like them. They're thick. Sometimes if you get a good packer and you have heavy things in the bag, they will double bag it. But the problem is when you have something that's frozen or needs to be kept super cold, they don't have any way to do that anymore. It's just in your bag. Take it or leave it, young man. And the problem is I like to save those bags and use them as paper garbage bags for paper. But they put stickers on them to close the bag so they know what bag goes where and to protect the sanctity and the sanity of whatever you're purchasing. So you have to very carefully rip them open and tear it down to fold it down so the stickiness doesn't get on your fingers. And it stays on the bag. So I love those. But every once in a while you get some kind of overzealous packer and they use 10 stickers to seal your bag instead of 1. And then you're opening it and the whole bag tears and everything falls down. And it's not double bagged. Dogs and cats living together. Everything's on the floor. So Amazon used to always kind of surprise you with the newfangled thing in delivery. And it was always kind of fun because they were sort of ahead of the curve and doing interesting things. And then they didn't for a while, and now they have this $15 service fee. Convenience fee if you want your food. And if you really want your food, you can pay $9 delivery fee, but if you want your food within a reasonable amount of time, then they charge you $15. So yesterday, and we order maybe every 2 or 3 weeks from Whole Foods. Not a lot of stuff, just things that are like proteins, are vegan proteins that are hard to find locally. And we get them delivered and it's wonderful. So yesterday, our delivery was slightly late and it's always early, so that was the first alarm. And then when I picked up the bags outside of our apartment, I thought, oh my goodness, I don't even care that they're 13 minutes late. Because there's this whole new bag. I thought, what? I'll show you the new bag. This is the new Amazon Whole Foods delivery bag. It's not a cold bag. Be sure to chill any perishables you might have. It's made out of what feels like recycled material. It's plasticky feeling. You know that feeling. You recognize reusable stuff when you meet it. It has sort of nylon feeling handles, but not really. They're rough. And this is how it folds. Very flat, super flat. I would call this super flat. Not even a little bit flat. It's really flat. Huh? And then when it's filled with stuff, and they don't double bag, and it becomes this really super beautiful bag. It's like a regular bag, and it will never tear, I don't think. It's super convenient. We didn't get charged extra for this. Sometimes they just do promotional things to test them. And every bag of the order was this bag. It wasn't just one bag for fun. It was everything we ordered was in these bags. And some bags were filled all the way to the top. Other bags had one thing in them. Weird. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't cold. It wasn't cans. It wasn't bread. It was one thing. So they're very nice. They're super sturdy. I think they would last longer than a plastic bag. Free. But here's the problem. They put the handles inside, right? They close it like this. And they flip it over. And then they put their stickers all over here. That's what they did. They put their stickers on. So you tear off the sticker, open the sticker, and you have sticker all over this side, and you have sticker all over this side. And then you can very gently peel off the sticker, but then you quickly discover that there's sticker residue all over your gorgeous new bag, which was disappointing. But if you're lucky and you have a monster who happens to live with you and who happens to be not at work that day because the monster needed a day off, monsters, I've discovered, are very good at removing stickers from recyclable bags. So I didn't have to do it myself. Gordon says use Goo Gone. That seems like a very severe solution, but I would go for it. Because it's not always predictable. Some stickers come right off, other stickers are stuck. And the goo is not gone. The goo is always there. And I think we used to have some Goo Gone, but I don't know where it is now. And some people would use nail polish remover on this to get rid of the stick, but that will melt the bag. Don't use nail polish remover to remove sticky stuff. It usually doesn't turn out well for you or the bag. And now, I better take my break or I'm going to be broken. We will return momentarily from this brief break. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv. BOLES.TV. Coming to you live and in person. 9 a.m. Eastern. Weekdays. They are shampooing the rugs in the hallway. So if you hear this high-pitched whine, it's not necessarily me. Gordon says the art of Goo Gone application is a very nuanced one. That is the truth. It tends to get everywhere and not where you want it to stay because it's very slippery. But it works if you do it right. So our whole bag conversation, and I can't believe I talked about Amazon bags for a half an hour. I'm very impressed with these. The quality is very high. Now, if I had to purchase this in a store, I would pay $4 for one bag. So I think we have 6 bags. 6 times 4 is $100, which sort of offsets my $15 delivery fee. So I have put myself up $125 in my own mind for ordering Whole Foods yesterday, having it delivered, and getting these bags in return. Now that's an investment. Forget crypto, NFTs. Collect these, sell them online for $4. Now, Gordon's thing about the Nebraska bag. Gordon says, did you just say 6 times 4 is 100? No. Remember, the answer to every math equation for a male is either 100 or 1 million. And we thank you for that. So I did a little bit of research on the Trader Joe bags that Gordon was telling me. He did it on a Nebraska bag. Now that's very cool. I've never seen anything quite like this, as far as I know, from a Trader Joe in New Jersey or New York. Now, maybe we haven't ever been to really a Trader Joe in New Jersey, but we've been to several in New York, and I don't think they have bags like this. Now, Nebraska is the Cornhusker state. And that's an interesting hand shape. I don't know what they're trying to say. Maybe they're detasseling? Could be. That's sort of an inside joke. There's a Nevada bag. Fun stuff. I go for it. So I went into our storage area. This is one of our Trader Joe bags, purchased in New York recently. And it seems sort of plain to me. It's just like regular Trader Joe. I think I've shown this on the stream before because it has these wonderful I think carrying wine, but you could use them for soda pop or marinara sauce. So that's one bag we have that we like. Here's another Trader Joe bag we have. This one is sort of a hempy canvas thing. That's all about the eggplant. Vegetables. Purchased in Long Island City, New York. I don't see any New York insignia on this. But this is very popular. I would say this is Jan Marie's favorite Trader Joe bag because it's very big, it's very heavy, and you can carry heavy stuff in it like marinara jars. And it has a very comfortable handle, which is rounded, so it's very gentle on your wrist and your fingers. My favorite Trader Joe bag, recently purchased in a sort of emergency, is this one. Trader Joe. Black, red, palm trees. All right? Interesting combination. And this is our newest and latest and greatest cold storage bag. Now, this is a beauty. If you have some ice cream or something beyond burger, you want to stay cold. It's very thick, 1/2 inch thick foam. This will keep your life cool for a 4-hour stint of teaching on your way home. Trader Joe. Whoops. Oh, I'm covered by my fan. Good stuff all around. It's probably a fire hazard, but I'll put up with it. Another thing I discovered yesterday in doing some preparation with Janet Marie for her return on Saturday is we found a very interesting article about sign language and education, and it was very deep, very long. Most articles in local newspapers are maybe you print it out as a page and a half. This was, I think, 6 pages. And very specific. It was well done. Oh, this is Mr. Gordon talking to me. I'm so involved with my bags, I'm missing out. Did you just say 6 times 4 is 100? Did I read that before? Did I say that? They're showing the farmer wave. Now that's funny. Very good. You basically have to look for the state bag or know where to look for the state bag. Well, now we have a mission. Now the challenge has been thrown down from Florida to a monster in New York and a lowly human being in New Jersey to find the state bag for Trader Joe's. Okay. Challenge accepted. So we were doing some research on her show for Saturday and came across this wonderful article. And it happened to be from the Los Angeles Times. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, here, let me hear. We'll go to the farmer wave first because that was funny. This is the farmer wave. Oh, it says it right there, the farmer wave. That's not really what it looks like, but okay. The one finger wave. Now that is very funny. I would like to have that bag. I didn't even know they had bags like that, but that's very good. So where is my other article about the Los Angeles Times? So you go there, you're reading the article, you can print it out, and then you're kind of looking around the website, and you think, gosh, this is sort of interesting. And we have subscriptions to many newspapers, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, Bloomberg, meow meow. I love the Financial Times, but that's very expensive. I wonder if the digital version is pink as well. Printed on pink paper. So this is the Los Angeles Times, and you're reading the article, and we print it out, and it says, hey, how would you like to have a subscription for $1? And I'm a sucker for $1 and $100 and $1 million. And, you know, usually it's $1 a week, $1. But that's cheap for a newspaper. Usually, like, Wall Street Journal's wanted $80 for a subscription. So then you investigate a little bit more, and the Los Angeles Times has had some rough times. But they're still there. They're still working, sort of, just like the Omaha World Herald has lost all its reputation. But the $1 deal from the Los Angeles Times is for 6 months for $1. And then it goes to, I think, $4 a week, which is $16 a month, which is still not terrible. But $1 for 6 months that you can cancel at the end of 6 months is irresistible. And so I did. I signed up. And I now have a 6-month subscription for $1 that runs until November. So now I'm looking, New York Times, Los Angeles Times. Let's see what's going on. So this is the front page of today's Los Angeles Times. Okay. Garcetti, likely known, should have known, alleged misconduct. Fine. Then you go down a little more. War in Ukraine. Yes, very important. Front page of the Los Angeles Times. Now, third article. Partner and power broker. And this is the image. This is the photograph. And I looked at this and said, oh, isn't that funny? The Los Angeles Times. No, it's not TMZ. It's not People Magazine. It's Los Angeles Times. But they're the whole milieu, economic reality of Los Angeles is television and movies and sitcoms and funny-looking people that they put on TV. And I thought, well, look at this. Now, isn't that great? That must be a new sitcom. With a guy sitting like that, and a woman with a tie and sort of an ill-fitting shirt with her arm around him, with that haircut and that makeup, and they're both staring in different directions. Not looking at each other, not looking at the camera. He's looking this way, she's looking this way. The definition of looking past each other. I said, well, that looks like a funny comedy, funny sitcom. And then I scroll down. And the title of this article is Vivian Villanueva holds sway in Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, staff say. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, well, that's kind of an interesting, in-depth headline for a sitcom. The sheriff's wife, a former deputy, has carved out an influential role within her husband's inner circle, officials in the department said. And then I scrolled back up. I said, is that the sheriff? The best dollar I've ever spent. When Carolyn Mandlin inexplicably turned back up at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to apply for a job, he should have set off alarms. Fired years earlier over allegations of domestic violence and dishonesty, Mandoyan had been rehired by Sheriff Alex Villanueva and then exiled again by a judge who blocked the move. But instead of turning him away, a sergeant in the department's recruitment office rolled out the welcome mat. In short order, Mandoyan was added to a list of recruits eligible for rehire. I got a call from the boss. The sheriff called you? No, the other boss. The wife. The wife is Vivian Villanueva. And the 2020 incident offers a window into the unusual role she has carved out for herself within her husband's inner circle that runs the sheriff's department. I cannot imagine living in Los Angeles and this is your reality. Those two. Now, if I were Netflix, I would approach them and say, look, retire from the sheriff's office. Come work for us. We'll just follow you around in your real life. And we'll pay you a lot of money because everyone's going to want to watch this. If you thought Tiger King was something, wow. Life with the Villanuevas. Now, on more serious terms, Bill Gates has COVID, as does the governor of New York, and recently the mayor of New York. Everybody has COVID now. And I'm just curious what the anti-vaxxers say, because Bill Gates is supposed to be infecting us with RFID chips and trackable things and magnets, and he wouldn't take the vaccine. He's forcing it on the rest of us, and now he's sick, so he never got the vaccine. And I just would love to know how they are responding to the news that Bill Gates is now infected with the one thing that he donated millions and millions and millions of dollars to resolve, probably so he would never get it. And now he got it. So you go to the CDC and you start looking around, well, what is going on? And here's some daily updates. New cases, 74,000, which to me seems like a lot. Because, COVID's over. If you're on an airline, take off your mask. Jana Marie says she's on the train wearing her mask. And there are people not wearing masks, giving her filthy looks. On the train, you're still required to wear a mask. Total cases, 81 million. Deaths, daily average, 323. Total deaths, almost 1 million. Hospitalizations, going up. 82%. People aged 5 and over. So that's good that the vaccination rate is going up. But I think as we go lower, no, it must be another page. Oh, it's this page. So this is the news from NBC New York, that there's now this newer version of Omicron that's showing up, and that is especially raging in the UK. And this is it. The COVID-19 subvariant estimated by New York State health officials to be substantially more contagious. Dr. Sanjay Gupta on CNN said it's 25% more contagious than Omicron. Then the first descendant of the potent Omicron strain now accounts for 73% of all viruses circulating in the region that encompass the Empire State, according to new CDC data released Tuesday. What is the name of this? BA.2.12.1. It's not over. Now, as you scroll down a little bit more on this NBC website, you get to some really interesting data points that's honestly alarming. Excuse me, COVID-19 community levels. Most of the United States, green. Good. Green is good. And then you look up here a little bit. Oh, boy, that's pretty much all this orange. Pretty much New York. Not necessarily yet New Jersey. But New York, right here, looking really, really bad. That's all New York. This is Jersey. I'm from Jersey. You from Jersey? Nobody gets that joke anymore. I thought it was hilarious. I grew up saying that joke in Nebraska. You from Jersey? I'm from Jersey. I think that was Joe Piscopo who started that on Saturday Night Live. So you wonder, what is going on the East Coast? The tip of the East Coast of the United States of America. That is all on fire. While the rest of the country right now, so far, is doing pretty well. Hotspot, Nebraska, that's not looking so good. Furnace County, Harlan County, Phelps County, that's not so good. Saunders County, Lancaster, that's where Lincoln is. Cass County, Omaha. Weird. It concerns me. We think we're done with COVID, but COVID is not yet done with us. As you know, I love learning new things and sharing what I know, and this popped up the other day on my feed. This is not a color test. We're not checking for color blindness. We're checking for the status of your bruises and what it means to get a bruise. So first, when you get a bruise, it's all red. The initial coloring is new leaky blood, and it's bright red in color, red tones showing through the skin. And this came up, and the context was women who get punched in the eye by their boyfriends, and how doctors and the police departments are trained on this color cycle to investigate the attack and how long that bruise or any other bruises may have been around. After a few hours after the initial strike, oxygen levels in the leaked blood start to decrease. As it has left the circulatory system, this causes the bruise to darken and shade. So within just a few hours, you go from bright red to sort of a purple. Then you go to kind of a bluish color of a bruise. A day later, the next day, the blood has lost all of its oxygen. The red cells begin to break down, and iron is released, turning the bruise darker blue, purple, or black. So even after a day, a bruised eye can be a black eye. Then healing begins, which is very interesting. And green is the color of healing in a bruise, which I did not know. Shades of green around the bruise indicate the first stages of healing. The green is caused by the pigment biliverdin, which is produced as hemoglobin is broken down. Very interesting. And I know that you go from green to this sort of yellowish color. Final color for $100. The biliverdin is converted into bilirubin. During this process, the green edges become yellow. Very interesting. And then, stage 6, fading. Finally, the bruise will begin to fade, becoming brown and lighter in color. As it does so, most will disappear within 2 weeks. So that's very interesting. You talk about a landscape of the body from this to 2 weeks ago, this and this. Very interesting. So these colors, these shades, generally speaking, can give you a roadmap, a context to what's going on with someone who may be either injured or in an abusive relationship. And now we're going to take a very brief blood pressure break, returning in a moment. And we're back from break. I'm David Bowles, and this is Bowles.tv. BOLES.tv, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Well, we've had a lot of fun today, talking about a variety of things. And now we're going right back at it. Rob Zombie, in the news. Love this. He makes movies, horror movies, songs, musician, vegan. Everyone loves animals until they hear the word vegan. Then they'll argue tooth and nail why it's acceptable to abuse them. Rob Zombie. Now, isn't that the truth? It's very interesting. You have conversation. Oh, do you love animals? Oh, sure. Do you eat them? What do you mean? Do you like a dog? Oh, dogs are smart. Well, you know, a pig is smarter than a dog. What do you mean? And I've never understood how someone could be a veterinarian and not be vegan. Do you eat your patients? Well, of course I do. And what if we turn that around? Hey, Mr. Cardiologist. When you're done saving that life, do you go home and eat other people? Of course. Why wouldn't I? I'm a cardiologist. I'm going to the skin doctor today, by the way, so I'm hoping for myself that everything is good news. I'm sure it will be. Although the skies are darkening. There was bright sunshine, and now we don't have bright sunshine. We have cloudy skies and 50 degrees in the New York City area. Well, all over the news today. Oh, Gordon says they have hearty meals. Absolutely right. Very true. I just don't understand how a veterinarian can say, I love animals, I care for animals, and by the way, see that pig over there? That's lunch. James Cromwell, leading the way, glued his hand to a Starbucks countertop, I guess. Starbucks, end the vegan upcharge. And he's absolutely right. If you want soy milk or almond milk at Starbucks, you pay extra for it. And it's been that way for years. And people have said, why? A lot of these plant-based milks are cheaper than cow milk. James Cromwell glues his hand to a Starbucks counter in protest. Oscar nominee James Cromwell glued his hand to a Manhattan Starbucks counter in protest over the chain's surcharge on vegan milk. As part of a PETA demonstration, he read a statement denouncing the coffee company's policy. New York City police officers responded to the incident and asked the people to leave. Cromwell, 82, stars in HBO's Succession and is also known for Babe, Pig in the City, and L.A. Confidential. Now, here's the thing. I know the new thing is for these vegan activists to go into a Starbucks and put super glue on their hand and then put it on the counter where you pay. And they block, I guess, the sale of whatever they're trying to do at Starbucks. Gordon says, I get charged 80 cents when I have oat milk added to my iced coffee, unless I say I want a black coffee with just a splash of oat milk, which is how much they give you both ways. Oh, very good, Gordon. 80 cents. That's ridiculous. I think it's like 30 cents in New York or New Jersey. At least it used to be. I don't know. And so you superglue your hand to the counter, which I guess then means they have to call the emergency technician people who have to come in and cut out your hand from the countertop and then take you to the ER where they have to remove the super glue from your hand. But people who saw James Cromwell said he glued his hand, did his thing, got on TV, police came, and then somehow he magically was able to free his hand from being glued to the countertop, which makes me think maybe it was like rubber glue and not super glue. Gordon says it hasn't been 30 cents in New York or New Jersey since W was president. What's wrong with you? Why don't you know these things? I don't know. I thought it was $100 all this time. But 80 cents is a lot of money. I mean, those Starbucks coffee things, whatever they're called, aren't they like $6 or $7? Just if you like want a coffee with just like milk in it. I don't know. I don't really go to Starbucks. I've gone to Dunkin' in the past, and Dunkin' had oat milk for a while, and then they didn't. And then, do you have any kind of plant-based milk? Yeah. And then everybody gets their coffee right away, and the plant-based people wait 5-10 minutes. I don't know why. I don't know what they're doing. And I'm sorry I keep coughing. I usually at this time am being hotboxed by my neighbor with the marijuana Mary Jane. The skankweed, the ditchweed. But now I'm being poisoned by the people shampooing the carpet in the hallway. Now you think it would have a fresh, dainty smell of roses and raindrops. It's very chemically smelling. And they're done. I looked, it's beautiful, still wet, drying. But the smell is overwhelming. Oh boy. Elon Musk. Oh, Nelly. He's made it very clear, hey, Trump is coming back to Twitter. And on the news today, they're saying, oh, that's fine. He's always been making news. It's not a big deal. And Jack Dorsey, who was the head of Twitter, said, oh, it was never meant to be a permanent ban. He was just breaking the rules. Just gross. And people say when Trump comes back, that's the day they leave. We'll see. But the best part of this article, of course, are the comments. I wish Musk would stick to cool space and car stuff. Elon Musk confirms he has no clue what morally wrong means. Film at 11. Now, that's what Elon has said. It was morally wrong to block Donald Trump from using his Twitter account to spread lies and disinformation. Morally wrong. Is there a difference between being morally wrong and morally corrupt? I don't think so. The Rat has finally confirmed he's a full-on fascist libertarian. Used to say proto-fascist, and a bootlicker for the wannabe white nationalist dictators. Is he trying to make up for what he thinks wealthy white people should have done in South Africa when apartheid was finally being ended or something? Talk about Elon Musk. And another person says, Twitter is just barely worth me having an account today. If they put the big liar back on, I will lose the remainder of interest I had in the platform. And that does sort of seem to be the feeling among a lot of people I know. Is like, okay, social media, Twitter, he's coming back. It's going to become Truth Social with all of his nuts following him and causing havoc and making fun of people. I'm leaving. I understand the sentiment. And our genius friend Bob Lefsetz says yesterday afternoon, after Elon made his big thing about Trump coming back, Bob asked the right question. Would you still buy a Tesla? And there is some consternation between the pronunciation of Tesla. Some people say Tesla. Some people say Tesla. The difference between an S and a Z. And people say that Elon Musk pronounced it Tesla with a Z. So they say he knows it's his company. So they all now say pronounce it with a Z, which I think is probably true. Elon Musk says he would reverse Trump's Twitter ban. Meow, meow. Don't buy a new gasoline car unless you're planning to get rid of it in just a few years, which is kind of dumb, because then you're eating the depreciation. But if you hold on any longer, the value of a gasoline automobile will sink to nearly zero. What is your 35mm camera worth today? Well, it's not really worth anything, unless you're, of course, streaming, and then it becomes your main camera. So he talks about the electric car and the far right and what's happening. And then Bob very interestingly turns this to Tesla. Has burgeoned on the goodwill, the purchases of the educated classes, wanting to make a statement, raving about their automobiles, spreading the word, but now what are you going to say? And there are people online yesterday saying, look, this came from a news organization. If Elon Musk buys Twitter, and he may or may not, it might all fall through. If he buys Twitter and puts Trump back on, be very, very careful in urban liberal areas where you park your Tesla car, because it's going to get damaged. And people know that they have cameras, so they know the angles where they can damage your car and not get caught. I think that's kind of wise advice because people are that way. I don't care if you're left or right or what you believe in, but when a giant corporation, publicly traded, alienates its base, that is a problem. I used to be a fan of Elon Musk, but no longer. The guy's irrational. And he believes the rules don't apply to him. And he acts like he's the only one who owns the truth, who can move us into the future, and that is just hogwash. As for Twitter, it's not a newspaper, it's not even a television station. Twitter only works if it's agnostic, if it's the place everybody goes. Just ask Donald Trump and Devin Nunes, who left Congress to run Truth Social. It has no traction. So do people on the left need to be on Twitter? Probably. For more than a decade, we've heard about tech boycotts, but they've never worked. People don't want to be left out. They want to be in on the action. So ignore the hype about Twitter resignations. Twitter was here until it's superseded by, well, it took a long time for TikTok and Snapchat to make inroads on Facebook. As for Instagram, the Zuck company bought it. And then he goes on. The truth is, the Twitter deal may not even close, and many analysts think it probably won't. You need to read all the following article. The flawed math between Elon Musk's Twitter deal and over-leveraged billionaire's bid for an overvalued company may signal the last gasp in an age of magical thinking about markets. And I have looked at that as well. That Twitter has, since he said he was going to take it over, Elon's going to take it over, Twitter stock has fallen by 36%. So he's not going to pay that price that he offered. He's going to offer the lower price, which means they have to do the whole deal over again. And Twitter is probably not going to go for that. And he doesn't have enough Tesla stock to cover a margin call or whatever they call it, because he is too far leveraged in other projects. Oh, and here it is right here. According to Tesla's regulatory filings, Musk had already pledged about half of his 173 million shares of Tesla stock to fund other ventures and activities. He has now pledged an additional 40% to secure the new loans to buy Twitter. That leaves only 10% of his Tesla shares available as collateral, because Tesla's policies allow major shareholders to borrow only 25% of the value of each share that is pledged. It would appear to limit further borrowing against the Tesla shares to be less than $5 billion. So, looking into the future, should Tesla stock fall below $400, The banks would probably demand immediate repayment, Mr. Musk, triggering a massive forced sale of Tesla sales and shares, depressing the share price even further and promoting other investors to bail out on this stock. So Tesla's stock has fallen. Expect Musk to declare victory and pull out of the Twitter deal. The breakup fee is de minimis, at least for Musk, only a lousy $1 billion. But Bob says, hey, let's say it goes through. And the right-wing propaganda comes flooding back to the site. Are you going to feel good about buying a Tesla? It's a very good question. I won't. And they're not selling Teslas to Trump people, who are stereotypically from the South and poor. Teslas go to blue states. Liberals, people with money. Bob says, I won't. Yes, Teslas are the best electric cars out there right now, primarily because the company is so far ahead on software. But beware of Volkswagen, which had a head start on the rest of traditional manufacturers and has made some missteps, but is on its way, which is very true. They're coming hot and heavy. Never mind having worldwide manufacturing and distribution. So that's what it's going to come down to, is Elon willing to insult the people who are purchasing his darling car. Gordon says, I think my tone was more droll, tongue-in-cheek, which is very true and hard to do in texts. It's just the way it is. And that's why sometimes we clarify. Even if we don't know if we should, it's always good to try. Now, speaking of Trump, oh boy, Nebraska's all over the news today. Like it's some kind of big, terrific win for Democrats and liberals that Trump failed to get his guy in Nebraska for the governorship across the finish line. Oh, and Gordon says, if Volkswagen can offer to make new electric Karmann Ghia cars, I'd be in line. They probably will. All cars are going to be electric very soon. I love the new electric Mustang, the new Ford F-150. They're not even taking orders for it anymore because it's so popular. There is a pent-up demand. It's very exciting. If I had a car, I'd get an electric car. But I have nowhere to charge it. So Trump spent a lot of time in Nebraska supporting a loser. Gordon asks, are you familiar with the 1960s Karmann Ghias from VW? I sort of remember them, yes. And Trump flew to Nebraska, did a 2-hour marathon supporting a losing candidate. Donald Trump Jr. was there as well. And it's a big, ugly, floppy mess because Ricketts, who is the current governor of the state of Nebraska. Oh, Gordon says Karmann Ghias are beautiful. The current governor of Nebraska is a hardcore Republican, very conservative, hateful policies. And his guy, Jim Pillen, won the Republican nomination. And Trump's guy, who was accused by 8 women of sexual assault, lost. Now, here's why this is really not great news, because the Republican candidate is usually the candidate that wins. So it's just going to be a continuation, really, of MAGA Trump policies no matter what. Because Ricketts is a Trump guy. Ricketts gives money to Trump, celebrates Trump, follows Trump, wants to be Trump. He wants to be president. So Ricketts is now going to try to go for Senate, probably knock off Deb Fischer, while his guy, Jim Pillen, will be the governor of Nebraska. And then people are saying, why? Why would they not pick the Trump person? And some analysts say, well, when you're sending someone to Washington, D.C., you don't care what they do. You want them to go make trouble. But when you're picking a governor, you want a governor who's going to lower your taxes, be there every day, be involved, and look out for you. So they want someone who can get the job done. But Jim Pillen's not some kind of, breath of fresh air of freedom and delight that's coming to the state of Nebraska. It's going to be the same old, horrible, horrible circumstance. The lovely days of Charlie Thone and Jim Exon and Bob Kerrey being governor are gone. And it used to be if you were a Republican in Nebraska, you supported business, agriculture, and your philosophy was leave people alone. Let them do what they want to do, as long as they're not bothering other people. That's the Nebraska way. And the liberals were sort of, no, we can fix this. We'll add this and help that and spend some money here and make life better. So you had two sides. Let's make life better, and let's why don't you just leave me alone? Those are the two choices. Now it's well, we can make life better. Hey, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to hunt you down, and you're not going to be smoking the pot, and we're not expanding Medicare, Medicaid. We're going to cut you up and swallow you whole because we are Republicans. It's a big shift and a big change, and I don't know why it happened. I don't know why that, we're going to follow you and watch you and beat you up, is now more appealing to conservative voters in Nebraska rather than, hey, you do your thing, I do my thing. Sometimes we'll meet in the middle, but otherwise, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to bother you. I'll see you later. And now it's time for me to say I will see you in a moment as we take our next blood pressure break. Back in a moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv. BOLES, not LIV. For video on demand. BOLES.tv for this live stream Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Jana Marie makes her return on Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Talking about disability and rights and language and communication. Well, we're getting ready to go to the skin doctor soon, so what I was going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to talk about cars. Inspired by Mr. Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, as he is lovingly referred to here. Here's Gordon's sort of dream car that he thinks is very beautiful. Yes, this is the Karmann Ghia from Volkswagen, and a beautiful car. No doubt about that. Look, it's so pretty. Oh, but it's not showing me new pictures. From the 1950s, VW Karmann Ghia would set you back approximately $60,000 if you wanted to buy one today. In pristine condition. However, later models come at a much more reasonable price, and collectors could expect to pay between $25,000 and $30,000. Okay, I like that. Let's see if I can get some other pictures that will actually pop up. Very cute, sweet car, very lovey-dovey. Oh, I even like black and white. Looks good in black and white. And there's a white car that in color. Very racy. That could be a Green Hornet vehicle. And what else? Well, we talked about the Ford Mustang. Mach-E. Due to high demand, the current model year is no longer available for you to order. Limited inventory may be available at selected dealers. Contact your dealer for more information. Price starts $43,000. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. I mean, what? That's this in a car. Your estimated EPA mileage range for an electric vehicle, 314 miles. Fabulously wonderful. Gordon says if you like the look of the Karmann Ghia, you might also like the Nissan Figaro, which was only made, I think, in 1991, but looks like a vintage car. We'll have to look that one up, too. And then we'll go back. Let's see, Nissan Figaro. Oh, look at that. That's just the cutest thing ever. Oh, it's so cute. And it's so tiny. I worry about tiny cars, though. I think if I was driving a car, I would want an efficient, giant car, an SUV, just because I'm afraid of getting crushed by other SUVs. Oh, this is a very sweet car. And in 91, they were making small cars like that. That's very interesting. So the Mustang will go 314 miles. Now, if you're going back and forth, let's say to a job from, let's say, Lincoln, Nebraska to Omaha, Nebraska, that people will think, oh, it's outrageous to commute back and forth between the two cities. If you're from Nebraska, if you live in California or on the East Coast, an hour to get to work is not that big a deal. It's like your daily commute. So though there and back, 100 miles, there and back 100 miles, there and back 100 miles. You could do 3-4 days on one charge of your Mustang. So charge it up a couple of times a week, and you're going back and forth to work, and the grocery store, and watching a movie. Everything's fine. And I love the look. I love the look of this Mustang. Traditionalists are offended. I think it's just wonderful. You can't order it. Not available. Which you know they planned. Because they want people to want it. But they can't have it. Big iPad right there in the middle. I know it's not an iPad. But it has some kind of, you see this thing here? This is big. It's part of the screen, but it's also a physical wheel that you can move back and forth. Neat. I would like it. I will have. And you have all kinds of colors, photo gallery. And not just that, but hey, here's the F-150, the most popular car truck thing ever in America for many, 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 many years. 100 years, I think. And the great thing about this Ford F-150 is if the power goes out in your house, you can plug in your house to your truck, and I think it will keep the lights on for a day or two. Now, that's usable. That's function. People would like to have that kind of power in their truck. 320 miles, 2,000 pounds, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. It's like the Mustang, but it's a truck. I just think it's wonderful. I hope they sell 1 million of them. 2 million of them. Mr. Gordon says, serious question. I have to use my serious voice with this. Maybe a British accent. Serious question. What do you do, young man, if you receive a PayPal invoice that is meant for someone else? I completely ignore it. Because it could be a scam. It could be hurting someone. The person it's intended for, they will not give up. Now, they could send me 1 million emails. If I don't respond to it, they're eventually going to figure out, maybe I have the wrong email address. I don't respond to the person. I have in the past, and I do get accused of identity theft and trying to steal bank account information. So it's best to pretend you never received it. I don't know what you're talking about, and let them figure it out. I don't contact the person it's intended for because they get really upset. Why are you messing with my bill? This is the inside of the F-150 electric. There's that knob thing, that wheel thing that you can turn, which I really like because it's a physical knob and not just a touch screen. Gordon says, I have to put on my serious British voice again. But it's sitting there in my PayPal account. Oh, so you're saying you've been paid. Now, that, I believe, is a scam. And usually it happens with Zelle, because Zelle doesn't get reversed. So this is what you do. You don't do anything, and you let it sit there, because you will eventually get contacted. If it's a person who made an honest mistake, you say, and you can respond, say, I'm not sending it back. Contact PayPal and let them handle it. Say you sent it to the wrong person. Or it's a scam, and they're going to demand, threaten, beg you to send it back to them. And because it's deposited in your account on a fake credit card. And then you send it back to them, and the credit card is going to come back to you, and you're going to get double charged. So you say, I don't have anything to do with this. I don't even see it on my account. You contact PayPal and tell them what you did and let them fix it. And then the money's there. You didn't touch anything. Let PayPal go in there and figure it out and either leave the money there or return the money. You don't make any decision about keeping it or returning it. You send everything to PayPal. You could contact PayPal yourself and say, look, I think something's going on here. People put money in my account. I don't know this person. I don't want this person. I don't know if this is a scam or not, but I'm letting you know proactively that it's in my account. I have to put on my serious voice again. And adding some draw. Not paid, you fool. No, I've been invoiced. Well, if they haven't paid you and it's an invoice, ignore it. Unless it's legitimate, then pay it. But if you don't know anything that's going on, it's a scam. And what they want to do is they know you're not going to probably pay them, but they want to know you're a real person. Same thing when I first met your son. You said, don't reply to those spam texts you're getting. And he didn't know why, and we explained to him because all they want to know is if that phone number is real. And when you respond, they know, it's a live phone number. Okay, Gordon says, note to customer, serious voice, on 0306, in the year of our Lord, 2022, you happened to purchase a cryptocurrency with a PayPal credit of $1,758. The first EMI of amount is deducted from your bank account. We have yet to receive payment for you of $559.14 in respect to our order ID of Meow Meow, which was due for payment on Beep Beep. Kindly, now right there, that word, Gordon, kindly, is the number one scam word that they all use. Whenever anybody, and in our building, our management tends to use kindly, but once in this kind of thing, the word kindly is 100% scam. Kindly request you, Sir Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, to clear the invoice. We look forward to more productive associations in the future. Please let me know if you have any questions. Meow, meow. Obviously I did not, Gordon says. And it's interesting, the name on the invoice is a name that I've gotten wrongly directed emails for. Yeah, Gordon is 100% scam. I've done a lot of research on this. Kindly is absolutely the number one clue. Now, if they have never taken money out of your account, which you say they haven't, and they say you owe them more money, which you don't, there is no reason at all for you to deal with any of this. And if I were in your position, what I would do is take that invoice email, send it to the fraud at PayPal address, which I believe is fraud at PayPal. Let me see. And say, look, this guy's scamming me. He's on your system. Fraud email for PayPal. Report fake communications. This is exactly what you have to do, Gordon. Tell us about messages from PayPal impostors. There you go. There you go. Forward suspicious email to phishing@paypal.com. 100% do that. Don't respond to them. Just forward it on. Say, look, this was sent to me. I don't want anything to do with it. You handle it. And they're going to look into it, and they're going to ban them. You'll never hear from them again. But if the word kindly, I've learned, is in almost every single scam, SMS, email, invoice communication. Because, as this has been explained to me, a lot of these people are in India or in Nigeria, and they have heavy influence in their early schooling from the British Empire, historically. And kindly, in the context of the British Empire, is please, if you will, if you don't mind, if you could be so bothered, could you kindly ... And so they try to appear officious and proper, and they imitate the British Empire. Oh, my TV just blew up. By saying, kindly would you? And your response is, kindly I will never. Oh, now we're back on. I don't know what the heck happened. Everything else was fine, as far as I can see. Big TV we lost. Apple TV. So that is my advice to Gordon. How to spot, learn how to spot fake messages, forward unusual texts or SMS messages. This is a good conversation we're having. Our help center is always available. Sign up for free. How to spot a fake message. The likelihood you receive fake messages is growing dramatically. Number 1, most common cybercrime in 2020. How to spot a phishing text or email. Generic greetings. Phishing messages often begin with impersonal greetings. Dear user, hello PayPal member. Attachments, a sense of urgency. A fake URL, asks for sensitive info. Poorly written, and then for browsing websites. But yeah, It concerns me, Gordon, that they have found you, or they think they found you, because all of this can be, there's a short con and there's a long con. Short con is, give me money right now. Long con is, oh, we keep sending you all these wrong images. Oh, you're the right person, right? What's your name? Your name's Mr. Gordon? Oh, my goodness. Were you in the Batman movie? Yes, I was. I was Commissioner Gordon. Oh, isn't that great? Hey, I have a deal for you. Send me some crypto. So here's the Tesla Model 3, which we just have to put in there because they are historic. VW has a whole new line of electric vehicles. They botched the early warning, as Bob Lefsetz told us, but they're on it now. And they are going to rock it because they have hired very, very smart people. And they're a great company. They have distribution all over the world. They know what the heck they're doing. BMW is also big into electric. They're on the way. They're hunting. They're going to find it. Addressed to Denise Gordon, not me. Yeah. Well, that's even more reason to send it to PayPal saying, look, they don't even have my name right. And I'm sure they think that you're going to answer for her because there's money involved. Kindly. Electric vehicles. Oh, it's just so delightful. So many wonderful things going on in the world. Gordon just did a Gmail search for Denise Gordon, and I have Denise Gordon emails going back to 2010. Very interesting. I don't know if Denise is a real person, but obviously someone is pretending to be Denise and using your email address. And I guarantee you, even if Denise is a real person and has a real life, that email that's intended for her is trying to shake her down. Everything in that email is fake, for you or for Denise, real or imagined. Stay far away, never reply. Never reply to something you think is fake, because then they have a way in. And they usually do it through SMS. Hey, it's so nice to meet you yesterday. I don't think I know you. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My name is Kathy. What's your name? I guess I found the wrong person. Where do you live? And then they think they have you in a conversation. Hey, I'm stuck in Los Angeles. Do you think you could kindly just send me $50 so I can get to the airport? I'll pay you right back. That's how it starts. Don't even reply. Block and move on. Oh, Gordon also got a phishing WhatsApp message. That's not good either. But that's okay because that's common. Just you have to block and not reply. Block and not reply. Set up very strong filters in your email. Block. Trash. Never respond. Because if anything serious is going to happen from the IRS, from the government, from your bank, you're going to get a physical letter. The IRS will never call you. The Social Security Administration will never, ever, ever call you on the phone. Your bank will never call you on the phone. And if your bank contacts you and says, we're getting all kinds of Citibank scams now, your card was declined, we're so sorry, we believe we have an intrusion into your account, is very convincing. Go to this URL and enter all your information. And if you're concerned, we don't have any Citibank accounts, so that's what's so funny about the whole thing, because normally you'd be like, oh my gosh. All you do is you pick up your bank card. If they call you or they SMS you, say, you just reply to them if you have to. I'll call you. And then you don't take their phone number. You look at the phone number on the back of your credit card or debit card, and you call that number and say, I was just contacted by someone saying they're from Citibank. Was it you? And 100% they're going to say it wasn't us. You're being scammed. Ignore them. But these are good questions to ask because they're very, very sneaky and they're very adept at tricking people. Good people. Just like I say, on these shows you see on television, Practical Jokers, Candid Camera. The nasty people are never on television because the nasty people don't fall for it. They don't go along with the joke. They don't help someone in distress. They say F you and they move on. It's only the good, kind-hearted people who are taken in. Do you think you could help me? I'm going to throw a pie in your face. Will you please laugh and not punch me? It's the nice people who get taken advantage of on these shows, which is why I have a hard time watching them, because they're taking advantage of the kindness of people who are stopping to help a stranger who's in trouble. Oh, see, Gordon got a classic phishing message on WhatsApp. Are you the dentist Steve referred me to? I hope you can help. Oh, boy, right there. Oh. And most people cannot resist not responding. Oh, I'm sorry, you have the wrong person. I'm not a dentist. I'm Commissioner Gordon from the Batman movie. You are? Well, isn't that wonderful? I'm the Joker, and I'll stay out of your community if you send me $100. That's the opening they want, the false identification. Gordon says, kind of like how you know when they show those people on the street are dumb segments. They're only showing the dumb people, not the people who responded correctly. Absolutely right. The dumb people and the nice people. The Carbonaro Effect is another one of those dumb magic shows where he plays tricks on nice people who are interested. He pretends he's selling something and they're being courteous. And, oh, isn't that interesting? What is that? What are you trying to do? Taking advantage of their good nature and their kindness so he can make fun of them and tell them, oh, it's just a prank. You're on a magic show. Joke's on you, big dummy. Ah, terrible. And sometimes people don't play along and they're upset and they don't want to be on TV because when you get pranked like that, you have to sign a release saying, I give you permission to make fun of me on TV. And some people won't do it because they either want to get paid or get credit, which I agree with. So the producers will still use the segment, but they'll just blur out your face. Maybe change your voice so you can't be identified. But they want the joke to be on you. So when you get those kind of things like, hey, are you this person? And you know you're not. It's a scam. Block and move on. If you have any questions for me, comments, you can email me, david@bowles.tv. If you have a question for Jana Marie, you can email her, jana@bowles.tv. You may find us online on Twitter @DavidBowles. On Facebook, we're BOLES on our business page. Instagram, Bowles Books. Online TikTok, Bowles TV. And if you're interested in joining our Discord server, and I'm working on the bots that are protecting us. So if you try to get into our Discord server and you have trouble, find me, and I will help you get in. Now there's hammering going on if you hear it. So you can join our Discord server right there. Hammer, 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 hammer. And we have there's a new game that we installed on our server called Piggies, where you can adopt a piggy, get chests, play games against the piggy people, grow a pig farm. It looks kind of fun. So, we're adding value every day. The hammering's driving me crazy. And now it's time for me to say hello and goodbye, and may you have a wonderful nap, a great sleep, and may you awaken with joy filling your soul when ye shall awaken. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow.